The narcissist is exigent in the most malicious ways that you can possibly imagine. And you don't even realize this until it's often too late. But in this video, what I want to talk about is how to keep your faith larger than the narcissist drama. Now, anybody that's been involved with a narcissist watching this video is well aware of just the confusion and the profound confusion that the narcissist can cause in your life, as well as the spiritual progress that you can also make by disengaging from the narcissist. And oftentimes, this is going to be the only way that you can really heal from all of the craziness. Because you'll be the person that seems like you've just lost your parts of your soul to these people, and they're trying to take your soul. And yet you thought you were building an emotional connection. You thought you were building a foundation of respect and dignity and love and honor. And meanwhile, down the line, you realize that it was all BS. And that's one of the most terrifying things that you can go through. And it's hard to keep faith in those times. It's hard to keep faith when you see the true malevolence of some people in the world. It's hard to keep the faith when you see that there is true evil that is disguised as goodness, pretending to be, wanting to be in your life, pretending to want to have a connection with you. And so one of the best things that you can do and learn from the narcissist is understanding how to take responsibility for yourself. Because responsibility plus stability minus distractions and temptations will equal your level of success in life in general. And when I say success, I don't necessarily mean materialistic success. I don't necessarily mean any kind of like career or anything like that. What I'm talking about is more of an enlightened mind and more of a profound respect for life. And in that reverence that you have for life and that respect that you have for life, that's where you're going to find healing again. And oftentimes, especially if you've dealt with a narcissist of the opposite gender. So I've had women that have talked to me about the narcissist in their life on consultation calls in the past. I've had men talk about the female narcissists. And by far, including my own experience, by far, the female narcissist is more psychologically destructive. The male narcissist is no joke. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's not really a contest, but the female narcissist is so skilled at being able to convince you of certain things that are just simply not true and making it seem like it's your fault because they cannot take accountability. They will completely try to flip the script and use your emotions against you if you're not careful as a man. This is one of the reasons why it's important to stay stoic as a man and make rational decisions. Anytime you are not in a rational decision-making process, like, I'm not saying don't feel your emotions. I'm not saying you can't have feelings. That's definitely not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that it's very, very vital for your spiritual life force to keep your rational mind intact, because that's where your true power is stemmed from, is from the knowledge and the wisdom that you have about the experiences that you've been through to progress and move forward in life in a certain kind of manner and to learn from your mistakes. You absolutely must learn from your mistakes. If you do not learn from your mistakes, you're going to keep making the same mistakes. Obviously. Like, it seems counterproductive to say that sometimes, but we have to remind ourselves that we must learn from our mistakes. But oftentimes, it's a matter of always being able to identify what is the mistake and where exactly you started to make the mistake. What is the root of the mistake? Where is the true essence of the problem? Where is your psychological programming stemming from in regards to this kind of behavior pattern that you have? Specifically with choosing certain kinds of women or certain kinds of men in your life, whether you're male or female. Where does this really come from? And you may have blind spots, right? Like when you're driving in a car, you might have a blind spot here and there. And it's the only way that you can get past that blind spot is to almost, how do I describe it? It's very hard to describe, really. It's very difficult to say. It's more like you have to set up mirrors around your life in a proactive and non-confrontational way to almost ask the universe, so to speak, by doing certain things, by creating certain things, if this is the way to go. You can think about it as a alchemic production of your own life. And when I say alchemic production, I mean in the sense of you are creating your own life before you. And you can learn about what your reality really is by how you're creating certain things. But one thing is for certain: the narcissist, the narcissist wants you to feel worthless. They want you to feel like you're the one with the problem. They want you to feel like you're the one that has all of the issues here. Now, you may know that you have issues. You're like, yeah, like I'm working on my stuff that I've got going on. Like, I know I'm not perfect, but I'm doing more and I'm trying more to make myself into a better version. And that's great. The narcissist isn't going to think like that. They may put on the act that they are. Like, I knew a narcissist. I've talked about this guy before that I lived with, and he would put on the act of like self-improvement, but really what it was this, it was like fast food for the soul, right? It was like fast food for the spirit. It can make you full and it can make you satisfied, quote unquote, but you're not going to get the proper nutrition, right? You're not going to get the proper nutrients in your body to actually like make your body work and live a life that is not of sickness, okay? And the craziest thing was about this person was how convincing he was that he was self-improving. How convincing. And this goes back to just the narcissist wants to make sure that their image isn't destroyed. Because what the most important thing is for the narcissist is their image. And the way that they prop up their image is by using you and maybe even copying you or your mannerisms. That can happen in certain relationships where you just start to mirror each other a little bit. And it's healthy to have a certain amount of mirroring, like to show that you're actively listening or rephrasing certain things that they said. Like, that's healthy. That's good. What's an unnecessary and unhealthy amount of mirroring or copying is when they literally try to steal your personality. When they literally try to take who you are away from you. And with the female narcissist, especially if you're a godly man, or at least you're being called to be a godly man, the Jezebel Spirit and the narcissist within these women, like, they are not going to like it, and they're going to want to try to take it. Because what did Jezebel do in the Bible to the man that she was with? Completely destroyed his vineyard and his land all for the sake of trying to get up in status, right? Like something along those lines. So they don't want you to have the confidence, and they don't want you to have the self-belief that you feel like you deserve, because you've worked on this thing and you've worked on yourself and you have certain aspirations and goals and dreams, and you realize that, hey, the more I chase people's validation and approval, the less I put my dreams as a priority. I don't want to keep doing that anymore. So when you start to actually make that shift, the Jezebel, especially if she's a Jezebel and you're like striving to be more godly, she is not going to like that. And she's going to try to destroy and take everything that you've built. Believe me. Believe me. And this even comes down to like parents and family and close friends. It can be really, really dangerous. It can be very dangerous. And this is not to be like, this is not like, what would you say? This isn't false caution. This isn't a false sense of like, hey, I'm just trying to fearmonger you into this. No, this is serious stuff. Like the narcissist will, if you allow them, will take your soul. And if you're a woman, it's going to have to be, it can be very challenging for you to discern whether or not this is a male narcissist that's going to take your life or not. And what I mean is take your life force, not your life really. I mean, that can happen. But I've even seen instances where there have been narcissists that really and intentionally try to create a family with another person just so that they'll have supply. Now, what do I mean by supply? For anybody that isn't aware of what supply means as a narcissist, like in the narcissistic topics, a narcissistic supply is where the narcissist is like a vampire. It needs the soul energy of people around them. And what is more pure than a child's energy? What is more pure than a child's life force? They may not be doing that like consciously, but I think that's one of the reasons why our society has become so perverted. Like all of the drag queen story times and such. Like that's one of the biggest reasons why I think there's so much perversion. And I've even seen, this was one of the craziest things I've seen recently, where people are attracted to, what did they call them? Like, they are like minor people or something like that. It's like where people are attracted to people under 18. That's not okay. I do not condone that. That is absolutely not okay. This is what our world is coming to, where we constantly cater to these self-entitled narcissists that are filled with demons and filled with disgust for themselves and for humanity. They don't want to see humanity thrive. They don't want to see humanity have wings, so to speak, right? They don't want to see you fly. They don't want to see those things that you're doing to better society. They don't want to see the world become a better place. And they'll actually feel challenged by your peace and your faith. Because when you have faith in yourself and you have faith in God, because make no mistake, almost every single person I've talked to that's like come out of the narcissistic relationship, almost all of them have grown closer to God. Almost all of them. There are some that I've met in the past that still claim to be New Age, which I'm not a fan of or condone. I think it's important to learn about so we know what we're dealing with, but it's not the way. It's not the way. It made everything more. It just made life more anxiety filled, I suppose. Like there was just so much. It's almost like it was too much energy that there was no grounding in it. And I knew that when I was studying it, I was like, I don't feel like this is grounding me into who I am. This is making it far more complex and complicated. And it's the same thing with a lot of the ideologies and pathologies in our politics now. Have you ever noticed how your identity is always changing? Like, it really is always changing. Who you are, Alan Watts said this perfectly. You are under no obligation to be the person that you were 5 minutes ago. Absolutely none. Now, what exactly does that mean from a philosophical and psychological and spiritual perspective? What this means is that you have the power to create who you are. Hello? Like, it doesn't come from anybody else. It comes from you inside your heart. You can change your ways if you really want to. But you have to have the willpower and the determination and the faith to really do so. And it can be challenging because there are times where the narcissist will burn you to the fucking ground if you let them. And I let them. At one point, I let them. And it took me a long time to heal, and it took me a long time for me to move on from this person. And I just couldn't understand why I kept attracting narcissists. I couldn't understand. I was like, well, at one point I thought to myself, well, shoot, like maybe I'm the narcissist if I keep attracting all of these kinds of people. Maybe I'm the narcissist. Maybe I'm the problem. And this was when I was like 23. And I was like, man, like, I feel like I'm pretty self-aware, but maybe I'm not. And that doubt, that is the devil right there. Because if you're questioning in the first place, when you're starting to question like, wow, maybe I am the narcissist. When you're starting to question that, that means the narcissist has gotten way too far inside your head. That's where the narcissist has gotten way too deep into your psychological programming, and you have already literally trained your nervous system to attack itself by creating and causing that doubt. And so if you are starting to think that you're the narcissist, I encourage you to forgive yourself. Start forgiving yourself. And this goes for just all narcissistic healing in general, but learning how to forgive yourself and give yourself compassion is going to be the key to unlocking the faith that you have in yourself once more. And you know, down the line where you start to really heal, you start to grow in compassion, you start to set better boundaries, because make no mistake, your boundaries will improve following the narcissistic relationship that you had with this person. Your boundaries will improve. There's no question. You'll be like, nope, that's not happening ever again. Nope. And you got to learn how to vet people, how to come in and out of your life. Like, sometimes you got to keep things professional, to keep things at a distance. You know, sometimes you can get a little bit personal, but not too much. You know, everything that I share about my experiences on YouTube, I am completely open about, but I don't say names. I don't say certain like places or times that may have certain specific inclinations or in how would you say it? Implementations of or insinuations. That's the word I was looking for. Insinuations. But I try to share as vague of a background and a summary of my experiences without giving away, and as a detailed background and summary of my experiences without giving away too many of the details, because I want to keep some things private. Like, even though I am a content creator here on YouTube, I understand that there are always people watching. And down the line, they'll realize, wow, maybe I was wrong to treat this person that way. Maybe they were right about this thing. But they're only going to be mad at themselves because they let such a good supply go. They're not going to be like having empathy for you. They're just not. They're going to think to themselves, man, maybe I should have played it a certain different way to keep them around so that I could keep sucking their life force. They're not going to say it exactly like that in their mind, but that's pretty much the gist and the intention that they have. They don't have a connection that they want to build. They just want your energy because they can't generate it on their own. So with that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful, and hopefully some people gained edification from this video as well. With that being said, peace be with you. Till next time.